This is Father Jerry Orgos, SVD, your host for this year's Holy Week special. In previous years, we brought you to a journey to different pilgrimage sites and places of importance for our religion. This year, we like to bring you on a different kind of a journey to God's very heart. They say that a broken heart is an open heart. As we listen to our brothers and sisters who share their brokenness, their pains, their crises, let us journey with them. And let us also ask ourselves, how about me? Where am I now? And where am I going? Let us begin the journey.
In grade 6, which was the year 2006, in August, I had just finished my first term and we were finishing our term break. And then I started to get really bad headaches.
One evening, we were having dinner. Joey was not joining us, and there was a commotion upstairs. And when we went up, we found that he had seized. So we checked him into the hospital that night, ran a few tests, which didn't show up anything. And the following day, I remember they want to do a CT scan.
We learned that I had a brain tumor in the fourth ventricle of my brain, which came as a shock to me. I think it shocked my parents more.
Both my wife, Babu, and I are doctors, and we had no clue. It was something that was very sudden.
I was wheeled out of the MRI. I could see my dad on his phone, and all my parents' friends were there. And I couldn't have possibly known what was happening. I was wondering, and nobody was telling me anything. And then my parents came over, and they told me, Joey, we learned that you'd been diagnosed with brain cancer.
An operation was needed, and the question was who to turn to.
They told me, there's nothing we can do but trust in God, because there's nothing we can really do. We're just here. We were created by Him, and we can be taken anytime.
That morning, Joey was on the gurney waiting to be brought into the operating room. I told him, Joey, I'm not going to be with you in the operating room. And he said, Papa, you trust Dr. Pusongkoy wholeheartedly. Mama trusts her. I trust her. She will take care of me.
I woke up being wheeled out of the operating room, and everything was hurting. I was surprised I was still alive. I could see my mom sobbing, but I guess she was so happy that I was still alive when she saw my eyes open. I felt somewhat happy to be alive. I remember being in the ICU. Those days were horrible for me. I just couldn't wait to get out. Couldn't wait to get back on my feet again. I hated being stuck in the bed.
My wife would look at me and say, how is it that you can stand all of this? How is it that you can just be so unfazed by anything that happens? And I said, it's because I'm not alone. I said, there's a lot of people out there, but more than that, there is somebody up there looking out for us. And I have faith. What I cannot do, He can do. I do what I can because He expects me, and I expect that of myself. But I know that we are just little pawns, and He is King.
When I got back home, then the horrible things began to come. I realized I couldn't walk anymore. I realized I couldn't turn my head. If I turned my head, I would get horrible headaches. I kept on having headaches, and so they decided to have another CT scan and MRI done on me, which was 2 weeks after my operation. Having found out that my cancer had regrown larger than it ever was, around 150% of what it originally was, my doctors were in heavy disagreement over what to do. Some of them wanted to open up the site again.
So if we operate now, in another 2 weeks, we're exactly where we began. And they said, that sounds right. The path is clear. We do not operate. And we go to radiation.
And eventually, after several harrowing sessions of chemotherapy, and finally finishing it, also my physical therapy, I could walk again, and while I wasn't completely well, I was on that way.
Many things that I have learned from this experience. Our children are not our own. They are loaned to us for a reason. We raise them. But in the end, I realized that all of us are God's and we have no control. He can take us, He can take them anytime. I try my hardest every morning that I wake up to look back and think just how close we had come to losing him.
You know, when in all the closeness of the situations where I got dying, I learned one thing. You're never scared to die. You're only scared for the family members who you leave behind and how they'll be there. You worry how they'll cope without you. But in the end, you just hope that they'll be able to get on without you. It's because of the love for family that is imbued so much in us that we can't accept leaving our family members behind.
I don't consider myself to be very religious, but I am very spiritual. I may not know the prayers, this particular prayer, but I know to take time off and simply say what's in my heart. And to me, that is the most powerful prayer of all. The hard lessons that I have had to learn because of and maybe in spite of you, and most of all, thank you for Joey.